Okay, Chesil class, year twos, we're going to look at something called subordinating conjunctions. Let's hope my pen lasts. Okay, so last week you were looking at coordinating conjunctions. So let's just go over that quickly. Let's start with a nice simple sentence. I went to the park. Okay, this is a simple sentence. It has a capital letter at the start. It has a full stop at the end. It's pretty simple. Okay, let's come up with another simple sentence then. I slid down the slide. Okay, I went to the park, I slid down the slide. Now, both of these sentences make sense on their own. If I was to join them together using one of the coordinating conjunctions from last week, for example, and I will underline it, I went to the park and I slid down the slide. We now have something called a compound sentence. A compound sentence is where you join one sentence that makes sense by itself to another sentence that also makes sense by itself. Okay, so that's what we were doing last week. If we're using a subordinating conjunction, then it's going to be something slightly different. So let's start off with that simple sentence again. Oh, it's not working. There we go. I went to the park. Okay, now hopefully you would have had a look at the PowerPoint. If you haven't, have a go at it now. If you don't have time or you can't access it, that's fine. We're going to work with 4 different subordinating conjunctions today. We're going to look at when. We're going to look at if. We're going to look at because. And I've totally forgotten what the last one is. We're going to look at that. Okay? So, I went to the park. Let's see if I can add a bit to this sentence. I went to the park when it was sunny. Okay, full stop. So I have my sentence that I started with, I went to the park, and then I have my added on part, which starts with my conjunction, when it was sunny. Now I know this is a subordinating sentence because this bit here, this is what we call the main clause. A main clause is a sentence that makes sense all by itself. So I could put a full stop after that part and it would make sense. This bit is the subordinate clause. Okay, that means subordinate means it's the lesser part of the sentence, which means it shouldn't, sometimes it does, but it doesn't always make sense by itself. So if I was to say, when it was sunny, that doesn't make sense by itself. I need it to make sense. So I need to add it to the main part of the sentence. I went to the park. When did I go? When it was sunny. Let's try another one. We will go to the zoo. Full stop. That is a sentence. It makes sense all by itself. So this is going to be our main clause. Okay, this time I'm going to use the conjunction if. Okay, so the first one was when, giving us a time or when we were going to go. So it could be when it was the evening. We said when it was sunny, so we're talking about the weather. We're going to use the conjunction if now. So there's got to be a condition. There's got to be a thing that's got to happen before we can go to the zoo. So we will go to the zoo if you do your homework. Okay, you do your homework. That doesn't make sense. If you do your homework, that doesn't make sense by itself. So this bit here is our subordinate. I can't fit that in. Clause. Okay, you could have lots of different things. We will go to the zoo if I can ride on an elephant. Okay, we will go to the zoo if I can have an ice cream. We will go to the zoo if you tidy your room. There's got to be, if you're using the word if, there's got to be something that's got to be done before they can go to the zoo. Okay, right, let's have a go at because. We could start with the same sentence. We will go to the zoo. Again, this is our main clause because you did all your homework. So this bit here, because you did all your homework, that doesn't make sense by itself. So that's got to be our subordinate clause, our lesser part of the sentence. We will go to the zoo. That's still our main clause. Okay? Because is the opposite of if. So there's got to be a reason. Now, it's not the condition. It's got to be a reason why they're going to the zoo. We will go to the zoo because you did all your homework. We will go to the zoo because it is sunny. Because it is nice weather today. Because it is the summer holidays. Because I want to. All will work. Right. So those two quite closely linked together. Let's have a go with that. Tom picked a new toy. Full stop. That is our main clause. It's a sentence. It makes sense. Main. I'm just going to put main this time. Tom picked a new toy. That was very expensive. Okay, that was very expensive. Now actually that does make sense by itself. that was very expensive. But we want to know what was very expensive. Oh, the new toy that Tom picked. So this is still the subordinate clause. Although it does make sense by itself, we need to know, the reader or the person reading the sentence wants to know what was very expensive, and it's going to be the new toy. So let's have a go at another one. Tom, no, not Tom. I ate an ice cream that was covered in chocolate sauce. Okay, I ate an ice cream. That will be our main clause because that makes sense by itself. Was covered in chocolate sauce. That does not make sense by itself. So that's got to be our subordinate clause. So these are called subordinating conjunctions because they join the main clause to a subordinate clause or a lesser part that doesn't make sense by itself. Okay, now you've watched this video, I want you to have a go at with yourself. I want you to have a go yourself. So you've got a number of sheets to do today, all to do with joining a main clause to a subordinate clause. And some you will have to actually come up with the subordinate clause yourself. Okay? Good luck, guys. Have fun.